What's up everyone? Welcome to Talk Verdi to Me. I'm Carter and today I'm going to be recapping my 2025 season and more importantly looking forward to this year 2026, what I'm going to be racing and sort of like what I have planned. So I guess first establishing like going into 2025 where I was at, I had gotten myself to be like, around 4th, 5th place in a lot of races in 2024. More mountainous 50K, 50-mile type races, as well as some 30K half marathon like mountain races. And it was my first year where I'd really started to get, top 10s consistently. And on the roads, I got to a 118 half marathon and 253 marathon, which was all right, but not stellar. So yeah, in 2024, I showed some promise. But really in 2025, I wanted to take a big step forward and get sort of competitive on the regional Northeast trail running scene. And the first thing I thought to do that was just add more volume. I've always thought the main thing between yourself and your goals is volume. And so I set that early on goal for the year of getting 700 training hours, which would be a huge jump for me. Before, I think I'd been around 400 to 500 training hours a year. And so yeah, I set the goal of 700 training hours, and through the winter I did a lot of ski touring, a lot of cycling on the indoor trainer, not a ton of running, but yeah, a lot of skiing and biking. And the running I did do was trying to focus on gaining faster speeds, doing a lot of VO2 max workouts, because early on in the year I did 2 road races to start out, a 5K and a 10K, and I was sort of trying to develop that sort of 10K speed. And yeah, I raced a 5K in March, ran 17:12 and got 4th at it, basically tied my PR, and then my big thing was I raced a 10K in April and ran 34:30, which I was super excited about. That was by far my fastest 10K, my fastest road performance ever. And that was in a hillier course with 0 competition. I won the race by 10 minutes. So it was totally solo running, which made me think, yeah, I could be right around 34 minutes for 10K. Which I know isn't crazy fast, but for someone that didn't grow up running, who's only been doing this sport for 4-5 years, it was pretty good for me. And then after I established some road speed and fitness early on, my next goal was doing a 6-hour event in May at the White Lakes 6-hour by Aravaipa and White Mountain Endurance here in the Northeast. And this 6-hour race was on a pretty flat loop, 2-mile loop, but with decently technical, single track, not crazy technical, but definitely slower than a rail trail or road. And at that 6-hour, I ran 42 miles and got the win, which I was really excited about. I had never won an ultra before, so that was my first time ever winning an ultra. There was, 2 other people that were really pushing me. They ended up around 38 to 41 miles. And I went out really hard in that. I went through 50K in 4 hours and 7 minutes, which would also be a big 50K PR. Granted, I've never done a flat 50K before. And then sort of held on to the win in getting 42 miles in the end. But my first time, I ran every step for the first 35 miles, and then started having some issues with my knee, but that was really great and showed me that I can be pretty good in the ultra scene, which I was really happy about. But at that race, at that Aravaipa event, they asked me about doing the White Mountain Endurance Cup series, which is these sort of 13 to 20 mile mountain races. And winner of the series would get a spot on their Aravaipa racing team, which was something I was really interested in. And I thought it'd be a long shot to win the series, but I was this sounds sick. I think I'll do it. Not do Vermont 100K, and instead do the White Mountain Endurance series. And so that had 3 races that I did, with the Chicorowa Mountain Race, which was in June. And at that, I was going in thinking I'd probably be around 5th to 7th. Just because of how competitive the field was. That's sort of what I thought for all of these races in the Cup Series. But I ended up getting third place, and what was really exciting is I got to the summit in second, and then it was like pretty rainy and technical, and I got passed on the descent by Sam Galati, who ended up being at all of these races and ended up winning the series. But I think I really showed that I was able to like crush climbing, but descending was kind of a weakness for me. But I think I really was able to translate that 34-minute 10K fitness into some pretty awesome climb. So yeah, I had that in June. Then in July, I had the Baldface Scramble. And going into Baldface, I had sort of been hurt. I had some issues with my knee in June, which ended up lasting all the way through August, actually, and really prevented my ability to get a lot of vert. But I had some fitness and did a lot of like climbing and uphill running in June before I got hurt, so I sort of carried that over the rest of the year. And at Baldface Scramble in July, I got third place again got to the summit in second place, and then finished in third, and that put me in second place in the series overall at that moment, which was awesome. And really brought some momentum into the Jigger Johnson 20 mile, which was in August. And Jigger Johnson's like a pretty special race for me. I did the 50 mile there in 2024, and it was sort of like my first big race. I got fourth there, fourth male, fifth overall. So I was really excited for the 20 mile, and it had a stacked field. A lot of friends were running it that I respect a lot. And again, I went into that thinking like, if I got top 7, I'd be pretty happy. And I ended up again getting to the summit of the race in second place and finishing in third place for my last race in the series. So I went third. I got podium in all three, third place in all three races, and I finished that final race first in the series. However, there was one more race left that I wasn't able to go to because I ended up getting married and was on my honeymoon during the final race. And so, yeah, it was really exciting to be first in the series after 3 races. That made me feel really good. However, not doing the last race, Sam Galati, who had gotten second, and then like, 8th or 9th at Jigger Johnson, ended up getting another second place at Kilkenny Ridge race, which gave him first in the series and pushed me down to second place. But I was really happy. I think I got some more attention in the Northeast running scene from getting second in the series and sort of being at those races. I came into the fall with already having a really stellar season for me, with fast 10K, a win at a 6 hour, and then 3 good mountain races. So then I came into the fall sort of injured-ish, with like my knee having problems sort of all summer long, and I took a really hard reset in August and September, and then had a big goal race of the Stonecat 50 mile in early November, because I had one ultra win, and I had a lot of really good sub-ultra like mountain racing performances, but I wanted to get a second ultra win on my year and sort of round things out. And I also wanted to test at the 50 mile distance, like where I'm at right now. And so I had a pretty short training block for Stonecat, only about 4 weeks before a 1-week taper, and could only get in a couple of long runs, but I got like one 22-mile long run, one 26-mile long run, and showed up to Stonecat in what I thought was pretty good shape. You never know how it's going to be after 30 miles. It's sort of like, an unknown, especially in a race where I was trying to run every step, but went out in Stonecat, also on like not super mountainous or hilly terrain, but really windy, like mountain bike single track. And at that race, I was able to accomplish my goal of running every single step. I got the win, and I finished in like 8 hours and 19 minutes, which was like 9:57 pace. So I also was able to keep it under 10-minute pace on the trails, which I was really happy about, and rounded out my year with a nice win at a 50-mile race, leaving me undefeated in ultras on the year, and also having some good sub-ultra performances, which I was really happy about. So yeah, my feelings exiting 2025 and entering 2026 was, I think I can be pretty competitive in sort of like the mountainous ultra scene. I think I showed I'm able to finish out races strong, which I was really happy about, and I'm a really good climber. And sort of what I was identifying as like my main strength and what I wanted to really work on going into 2026 was that mountainous 50K to 50 mile distance. I'm still really young. I'm only 24 years old right now. And so I don't want to move up to the 100K, 100 mile scene quite yet. And really hone in that 50K to 50 mile distance. Sort of like, as I had mentioned, going into 2025, my main idea was just throw volume at my training, and hopefully it'll make me competitive. And I think that got me to a great spot in 2025, but I think that eventually I'm going to plateau doing that. So really exciting thing for me is I hired a coach this year. I'm working with Grant Barnett. He's a professional trail runner for Craft. And yeah, I'm really hoping that he's able to take me up to like another level, which would be awesome. And yeah, just getting more specific trail workouts, because up to this point, most of my work has been sort of like 10K work on the track and roads. So yeah, really trying to work on that specificity, which will be really exciting. And then in terms of like a big goal race for 2026, I've sort of organized my whole calendar around sort of like two halves of the season. The first half will be all building towards Borealis by UTMB, which is a brand new event in Mont Tremblant in Canada and Quebec. And I'm going to be racing the 50 mile distance there, which has 12,000 feet a gain and summits Mont Tremblant 3 different times or 4 different times. It should be really, really cool, super competitive. And the top 3 at that race get an automatic qualifier to CCC over in Chamonix at the UTMB events, which that would be like a dream for me. But even getting top 10 there would be really exciting, because I think it should be a nice competitive field. So that's sort of like first half of the year, with the main focus being mountain running and building up towards that 50 miler. And then second half of the year will be another 50 miler. It's kind of the distance I want to focus on, and that's going to be JFK 50 mile in November, with, after that August race, building towards like more runnable, speedy sort of like ultra races, which would be really exciting. So in the first half of the year, to prep for Borealis by UTMB, I will be doing a couple of races. First, I'm doing another marathon in April, the Cheap Marathon, which is here in New Hampshire, and is a really fast course. And my main goal there is to just get a qualifier for Boston for 2027, because I have some friends that want to run Boston. And so, if they get in and want to do it, I want to be able to do that as well. And also right now the marathon is my worst road PR at 2:53. I think that, I should be able to run in the probably like low 240s, but yeah, I'd be really happy under 2:45. I mean, even a PR is always great. So that's my first race on the schedule right now. I might throw in some like 10K or maybe a half marathon if I could find one in March. But yeah, so Cheap Marathon in April. Then in May, I'm doing the Cayuga Trails 50K, which is a pretty classic Northeast 50K race in New York. It's in Ithaca, New York. Going out there with 2 friends, which will be really fun, and gives me a shot at a nice like regional win at a pretty classic race. And then something I want to keep around is just like racing regional races as well, and trying to build my resume with some wins or podiums, which will be really exciting. And then in June, I'm doing some sort of like shorter sub-ultra races with the Race the Cog VK, which is here in New Hampshire. Really competitive, like Joe Gray goes to that race a lot, which would be really fun. And I got a free entry there from Aerovipa, which was really nice. And then Cirque Series Killington, which is an 8-mile, 3,000-foot race in Vermont. Cirque Series races, also really competitive. Should be good to like learn racing tactics and just sort of like get my doors blown off in like a really high octane race, which would be awesome. And that will be my last race before the Borealis by UTMB race in August. However, in July, I also want to do one really big day in the mountains, sort of like harder. Right now I'm thinking a Pemi Loop, and try to do like a hard Pemi Loop, which would be cool also to see like how untouchable that FKT is on the Pemi Loop. The FKT is like 5.5 hours, and looking at it like, yeah, if I could do like a hardish day and get under 7 hours, I'd be pretty excited. And yeah, that'll be my last big thing before Borealis by UTMB on the 50 mile there, which super excited for. And then in my second half of the year, I'm building towards JFK 50 mile, which is super flat, super fast 50 mile. Be a nice 50 mile PR type of race where I can try to target like, a 6-hour 50 mile, and try to get into the bottom part of that top 10 potentially on an amazing day if other people blow up. But even top 20 at JFK 50 would be awesome. And I'm sort of trying to give myself races here where I could put myself on the map, and get some attention more in that like national scene, which would be really cool. And I might throw in, between the August race and JFK, I might throw in Grindstone 50K by UTMB, give myself another chance to qualify for OCC there, and sort of like transition to that more flat runnable races, or do stuff more locally, with some other, like 50K, or even I could do another like road half or road marathon in that intermediate time, but don't have anything too set between August and November yet. But yeah, really excited, trying to establish myself as like 50K to 50 mile, really 50 mile distance, sort of racer, with the mountains, and doing much more competitive races that I'm doing. I sort of this year did all of like the big New England sort of races, got myself on that level, and I think that with my 2 wins in the 2 ultras that I did, showed that like, got to do some more competitive things and see where I stand. And yeah, it won't be as cool like getting a win at these local ones versus now I'll be competing more for like top 10 at national races. But I think I'm okay with that, and be fun to see where I stack up. So I'm really excited about it. Training is going well so far. I'm really happy to be healthy right now, with no injuries holding me back, which is really exciting. And yeah, building up towards some fun goals. Super excited to be working with Grant, and yeah, should be getting fit, should be racing. So yeah, if you want to follow along with the journey, definitely subscribe if you like this video, and yeah, are as excited as I am for this upcoming year, and hope that you have some exciting goals. Yeah, sweet. Well, yeah, if you like this video, subscribe to the channel, like it, and as always, keep on running.